Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, General Brown. General Austin, the most pressing issue is the supplemental, in my view, because of the consequences not just in Ukraine, but throughout the world. In fact, CIA Director Burns recently stated, "No one is watching U.S. support for Ukraine more closely than Chinese leaders. One of the surest ways to rekindle Chinese perceptions of American fecklessness and stroke Chinese aggressiveness would be to abandon support for Ukraine." Do you think that's an accurate assessment?
I do, Chairman. I think we would ask that Congress pass a supplemental as soon as possible because Ukraine matters, and the outcome of the conflict in Ukraine will have global implications for our national security as well. So. And we take a look at what Ukraine has done with the support that we provided them, Chairman. It's been quite remarkable. You know, not only have they stopped a much superior force in terms of quality of equipment and numbers, they've taken back some 50% of the ground that the Russians initially occupied. And so they're not asking for someone to fight the fight for them. They're asking for the means to sustain their efforts. And without security assistance, they won't be able to resupply the much-needed air defense interceptors and air defense systems that they need to protect their skies and protect their people. And so we would see things begin to atrophy in a very meaningful way in a short period of time. And so I think it's really important that we pass this, that Congress pass this legislation as quickly as possible. And I would remind everyone that, you know, we don't give, the military doesn't give Ukraine money. It provides security assistance in the form of weapons and munitions, and we replace those weapons and munitions by you know, buying new weapons and munitions for our inventory, and that flows through our industrial base. And so some $50 billion of this request would flow through our industrial base, and it would create good jobs for Americans in some 30 states. And so I think this is about as much about our national security and our industrial base capacity as anything else, but Ukraine matters not only for Europe, it matters for the entire world.
Thank you. Shifting gears to another area of contention, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is something that is obvious to the whole world. The United States is trying to assist, and for many people, this is a moral principle, but it's also, I think, a operational principle, because unless you can separate the Palestinian people from Hamas, you'll never defeat Hamas, in my view. That this is something that operationally we encountered in Iraq, and you served there, Mr. Secretary. And let me emphasize, Mr. Secretary, rather than your former rank, Mr. Secretary. And you understand, I think, these dynamics as well as General Brown. I assume you concur with that comment.
Absolutely, Chairman. If Israel wants to create lasting effects, then it must address the humanitarian needs of the Palestinian people, and not in a marginal way, in a meaningful way. And so we continue to encourage the Israeli leadership, and I talk to my counterpart on a weekly basis. I just talked to him yesterday, and encourage them to increase the volume of humanitarian assistance that's going into Ukraine. And we've seen them do that most recently, but we need to sustain that. And the United States continues to do everything that we can to assist. You've seen airdrops on our part, and you see us working to provide a maritime corridor to provide additional assistance as well. So.
And that maritime corridor, in your opinion, is a legitimate mission for the United States military. Both you and General Brown consider that to be a legitimate mission?
I do, Chairman. It's, we're using a capability that we have, joint logistics over the shore, and certainly our troops are trained to be able to put this into place, and we expect that the initial operation capability will probably be in place by the third week of this month, and so it is something that we have the ability to do, and we should do.
And the number one priority is force protection.
It is, and it always will be, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Senator Wicker, please.